Hey there, I've been on the road for a year now with my partner Justin in our RV, traveling full-time and showing y'all on YouTube what it's about. When we set out on this journey a year ago, I knew I wanted to at least document it for us, to have the footage of our trip, just to have those memories. And it made sense while I was doing that to put it on YouTube, to help people who were new and watching lots of YouTube to see what it was like. We were that way once upon a time. And also because it's just plain fun, right? YouTube can be really fun. I know it gets a lot of flack. It is very time consuming and it can be stressful, but it's also really great to talk to you and frankly to have an excuse to do videos sometimes, have little quests to look for beautiful things to show you, interesting stories to tell you. It really livens up my life. So thank you for being on this journey. But I did notice with a lot of the larger RVing YouTube channels when I was watching to see if I liked RVing, and then later when I was watching RV YouTube to see how to document our travels, I noticed that they don't talk about what it's like to make the videos, to be a YouTuber when you live full-time in an RV. I thought I would sit down and talk to you about that because I would have found that very interesting. Just as a viewer and just as a nosy person, I'm very nosy. But also if you're thinking about doing a travel channel on YouTube in the RV space or even the van life space, because I think a lot of this overlaps. And I wanted to talk specifically today about the challenges because I wish I'd known about all these going in. So without any further ado, let's dive in. Okay, so the biggest thing I think that gets me on a regular basis is the lack of storage for cameras and other equipment. We live in 200 square feet. We're in a 32-foot Class C motorhome. We don't have the nice big storage underneath like a bus or a fifth wheel. There's not a lot of room for things. The way we've dealt with it is we really don't have giant cameras or anything. I'm talking to you on a GoPro on a very simple tripod from Walmart. I also have a little selfie stick that I shoot with the GoPro. I have my cell phone that I also use to film a lot. I don't have big clunky camera equipment because frankly I don't have a place to put it, but it works out well. The reality is you don't need a lot to shoot on YouTube. The majority of video online these days is captured by cell phone. So even having something that's tough and small like a GoPro works pretty good, but it is a hassle sometimes even with my meager camera equipment, finding a place to put it. The second big challenge is that I have a smaller workspace than most people. And not only do I have a smaller workspace, but it has to be packed and unpacked every day. So my husband Justin, he has a corporate office job where he remotes in, and we have a devoted office for him that's in kind of a bunk cubby area. That's where a set of bunk beds were when we first got the RV. We took it out and we put a small office in for him. But I do not have devoted office space. So I either work on the couch or at our dinette. And those spaces are not devoted office spaces. Our dinette is obviously a place that we use to eat or put things or to work on family projects like a desk, and our couch is where we relax at night. So I have to constantly, after I video edit and do my work, I have to put away my laptop. Every single day I have to find places to store that, my headphones, you name it. I can't just leave my gear out. My mics and everything have to be constantly put away. When I do voiceovers, it's a constant pack and unpack, and I have to do that every time I work. And somebody who is a sticks and bricks editor does not have to do that. Not the end of the world, but it is a constant time sink, an energy sink, and a motivation thing. The third big challenge doing this and running a YouTube channel is finding new filming locations whenever you move. So for me, I like to film outside a lot when I'm talking on camera. Justin and I do some work inside the RV on the couch, and he has some soft lights we use, but I like to film outside a lot because I get that natural light. Every RV park is different. Our space will be situated a different way. There'll be different trees. The lighting situation is going to be different. Right now, I am actually sitting under the awning, which is great, but I can't always do that. Some places are too windy and I can't produce that shade. So whenever we move to a new campground, I am casing the joint. I have a compass app on my phone. I'm looking at which way the RVs turn, seeing if the RV will act as natural shade, looking for shaded areas in the park that I can go to that maybe I can film at. It's a constant thing where if I had a home studio, it would be set up. I would have my lighting set up. I would just leave it that way and just turn the lights off and on. It'd be a simple thing to start to record. Can't do that on the road. The fourth challenge I have is recording voiceover in a small space that I share with somebody that talks all day on meetings. Yeah. So talked about Justin. He has his devoted office bunk cubby area. There's no door. I can literally see him from the couch where I'm working. And with our noise canceling headphones, when I'm editing or I'm listening to something, I can usually kind of tune them out and it's not a big deal. But if I'm trying to do voiceover, like those RV park reviews where I'm talking about walking around the site and I'm narrating the facilities with the voiceover, I have to time that for when Justin doesn't have a meeting. And he jumps on random calls all the time. Like if there's an issue, he works in computers and sometimes there's outages and things that he has to respond to. He'll have no warning. All of a sudden, my audio is ruined. I have to redo it. I have to retake it. It's not the end of the world, but it is not something I'd have to deal with if I wasn't living in an RV trying to run an RV channel. The fifth thing I have to deal with all the time is that things break on our rig constantly. Now, this doesn't necessarily affect my technical ability to film. If anything, it gives me something to film because people typically find it interesting what breaks. We've done tons of videos on things breaking our RV as well as the repairs. But what it does do is it ties us up with time and energy trying to fix this. It messes with our production schedule, especially for videos where Justin will sit and talk with me or that I'm interviewing him. If he has to spend all day fixing something, he's not going to sit and film a video. He just isn't. And we can't plan that. So it can be very frustrating when something breaks and it messes with filming. And then I have to say, okay, well, do I do an impromptu one outside? Do I just do one video this week? I have to make different decisions. It's more chaos on top of the travel. It's stuff that we can't plan. The sixth reason that doing this in an RV is weird is time zone math. As we're traveling around, I can be in 2 or 3 time zones in 1 week. And that can get crazy when I'm trying to actually schedule things for the right time on YouTube because it does it by local time, not by their time. And also when I'm working with people on collabs, if I have to jump on a call, I'm like, oh gosh, what time is it? And typically my phone is on the right time, but my laptop doesn't always update. The RV stereo is on a different time. The microwave's on a 4th time. Like, it can get crazy. And I'll have to make sure that I look at my phone and check my calendar and change my computer, and it gets to be a nightmare. I don't know what time it is half the time, and that can be tricky. I wouldn't be running into that in sticks and bricks. Maybe a couple times a year with daylight savings, but the rest of the time, I know what time it is. The next reason that it can be challenging is how conspicuous you are when filming at RV parks. Like, I'm talking to you right now, you can see the RV park around me. There's been people driving by, people walking by, and it used to really bother me at first. I had to get over it. Now, you can get over that by going inside and always shooting inside, but I like shooting outside. And if I'm doing an RV park review and I need to actually film the park amenities, there's literally no way to do that inside. And sometimes I'm shooting and somebody will come in to use the laundry room and be like so apologetic, and I'll feel bad, like I'm rude and I'm in their way, like, oh no, I was just filming this laundry room for YouTube. It's unhinged. You have to get over that though. It just takes some time, and I'm always apologetic, and I try to be careful and be as inconspicuous as I can. Feeding into that, the next thing that's challenging is the RV park noise pollution. So anytime you're filming outside, you're gonna have that leak through. So I'm talking to you, I'm sure you're hearing the birds, they are lovely. Other times I've had some wind noise, although I have this little poof on here on my lavalier, my clip-on mic, and that helps with the wind. But sometimes if the wind is determined enough, you will still hear it. Hear children playing, road noise, planes, the works. It's not a studio, you can't control the sound. And so you have to make peace with that or get really good at editing around it or do multiple takes. And all of those are extra challenge you wouldn't have if it was in your home studio in sticks and bricks. And the final big challenge is dealing with the rain. Now, it's nice and sunny today. It's not always sunny. And there's a couple of different ways that rain can be a problem. So anybody who's lived in an RV or even stayed in one for any length of time will tell you that the metal roofs make it very loud when it rains, especially if it rains hard. So if you're trying to do inside work and to do like a couch talking head inside your RV, it's gonna mess with your audio. It's gonna be constant. It's gonna be impossible to record in there. So that stinks. In addition, when it rains, the lighting's different. Now, we have actually filmed in the rain. Our most popular video to date, the 2 weeks we spent at Disney World, actually starts with the rain, with us going to Disney World in the rain. We've also done ones where we were driving through a thunderstorm warning and showing that. Some RV channels do not film in the rain. I'm not going to call anybody out on this, but there's some prominent ones that have said literally on camera that they will not show the rain. They do not film in the rain because it doesn't look as pretty. They're looking for like a glossy, like fantasy van RV life look, and more power to them. But sometimes it rains, and I prefer the authenticity of documenting and showing that. That said, sometimes it's just too wet, it's too loud, it's ruining everything. The rain can ruin your schedule. So if you've got something that breaks on the one sunny day all week and you were supposed to sit inside and do some talking heads, oh my gosh, this is not a normal thing that somebody in a studio would deal with. They would just set up their studio lights. The sound of the rain would not be ruining their audio. It would be such a straightforward thing. But unfortunately, if you're doing a YouTube channel and you live in an RV, it is something you have to think about. But despite all the challenges, I've had a wonderful time. It's been great talking to you as always. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.